Large-scale Russian drone and missile attacks on Kyiv and elsewhere in Ukraine have killed at least 3 people and wounded dozens more.
At 6 hours. Silvestol Pier, occupied Crimea. Morning arrives quietly on the Crimean coast. The BK-16 fast assault boat sits moored to the dock, its black hull reflecting the pale dawn. Sleek, angular, and feared, it is Russia's go-to hunter of Ukrainian special forces. 19 naval infantrymen sleep nearby. The lone watchstander, sipping cold tea, believes he is protected by the densest air defense network in the region. He is wrong. 80 kilometers offshore, 6 Ukrainian Beaver naval strike drones skim across the waves, flying so low that their wingtips throw mist into their own slipstream. They are not meant to look elegant. They are machines built for a single purpose: penetrate, blind, and gut a heavily defended air defense sector. The destruction of the BK-16 is simply the final strike in a carefully choreographed chain of blows. 15 minutes remain before this silent morning becomes a textbook example of how low-cost precision drones can unravel billion-dollar defense systems. Deep inland, inside a camouflaged pit carved into a hillside, a Russian Krasukha-4 electronic warfare truck powers up. The crew begins its morning diagnostic. The system's job: dominate the electromagnetic spectrum through brute force. The moment it activates, Korsar, the Ukrainian drone operator, feels his link to the lead drone flicker. The video feed freezes, 3 seconds of nothing. At 95 kilometers per hour, that's 80 meters of blind flight straight toward the rising cliffs of southern Crimea. On Korsar's console, signal strength collapses from a healthy 70 dBm to 110 dBm. At 120 dBm, the drones lose all control and become expensive lawn darts. Ukraine has rehearsed this battle for years. Korsar activates frequency hopping spread spectrum. The drones begin jumping between 40 radio channels every second. The Krasukha tries to jam each burst, but its response delay 50 milliseconds is double the drone's hopping speed. The jammer is swinging at ghosts. Still, the drones are operating on a razor's edge. Korsar executes burn-through, blasting maximum signal power on one frequency for 2 seconds. Dangerous. But the video stabilizes enough to confirm the target, the Podlet K1 radar site, and beside it, the rotating dish of a TOR M2 air defense system. The gauntlet begins. The TOR can't find its prey. Inside the TOR M2, Sergeant Vaskov stares at radar clutter, birds, sea spray, trucks. Nothing resembling a drone. That's because the Ukrainian drones are flying terrain masked only 20-30 meters above the surface, too low for his radar to cleanly distinguish them from the ground. He switches to MTI mode, telling the radar to ignore anything moving slower than 40 kilometers per hour. Ukraine sees that radar pulse change instantly. All 6 drones throttle down to 35 kilometers per hour, falling into a blind spot between too slow and too low. The TOR sees nothing. But a new obstacle appears. High voltage power lines stretching across the valley. The drones must pop up just for 3 seconds to clear them. And that's enough. Suddenly, Vaskov's screen lights up. 6 targets, 2.4 kilometers out, 60 meters altitude. He launches a 9M338 missile, accelerating to Mach 2.5 almost instantly. Korsar slams the lead drone downward. It dives under 20 meters. The TOR missile's proximity fuse cannot arm below 15 meters, a safety feature to protect its own crew. The missile screams overhead, blind and unarmed, then self-destructs. A second TOR battery, positioned for overlapping coverage, fires too, but the terrain and the 1.5 kilometers minimum engagement range create a narrow corridor neither can reach. Ukrainian intel had mapped this precise seam. The drone slipped through a 1.4 km invisible path, deadly to miscalculate, but perfect when flown with machine-level precision. They exit the TOR trap. 2 layers down, more to go. The Pantsir takes over. Ahead sits Russia's most feared short-range air defense system, the Pantsir S-1. 12 missiles, twin 30mm autocannons. Its operator, Corporal Denisov, has watched the battle unfold through shared data links. He knows the drone's rhythm. At 2.2 kilometers, he fires a pair of 57 E6E missiles, the classic leading trap. If the drones dodge one, they fly into the other. The first missile switches to IR terminal guidance and finds nothing. The Beaver's electric motor is only 40 degrees Celsius, barely warmer than the morning air. It is thermally invisible. The missile speeds past harmlessly. The second missile detonates within 12 meters, spraying tungsten fragments. 3 fragments pierce Drone 5's structure. Its video feed spins wildly, then dies. 1 drone lost. Denisov immediately fires another pair. 1 drone is caught in a direct hit, an orange flash ending in falling debris. 2 drones down, 4 remain. Denisov switches to guns. The twin 30mm autocannons roar to life. 5,000 rounds per minute combined, each shell explosive. The Panzer's computer calculates a perfect lead 55 meters ahead of the drones. But the drones refuse predictable motion. Every 1.5 seconds, each operator inputs a random, violent maneuver. The Panzer's targeting algorithm needs 1.5 seconds of stable movement to build a firing solution. It never gets it. Frustrated, Denisov switches to manual, sweeping the sky with arcs of fire. Shrapnel tears into Drone 2's control surface. It remains airborne but fights a constant leftward drag. At 500 meters, the remaining drones perform synchronized shallow dives to 10 meters altitude, forcing the Panzer's guns to depress to their mechanical limits. The terrain hides them again. They escape a third layer of defense battered, but alive. The final run, radar missiles, and the BK-16. Now, only 1 kilometer separates the drones from their primary targets. The Podlet K-1 radar, its supporting generator, and the BK-16 assault boat waiting unsuspectingly at the pier. Corsair splits the formation. 2 drones veer left toward the radar array. 2 continue straight toward the naval pier. Russian radar operators finally realize the threat is at knife-fighting range. Frantic orders crackle across radio nets. A nearby infantry platoon fires machine guns skyward. Tracer rounds claw at the air. It is too late. The first drone slams into the Podlet K-1's rotating dish. A white flash blooms. The radar vanishes in a plume of metal shards and fire. The second drone performs a low sweeping turn and detonates against the radar's control cabin. Screens go dark, communication lines melt, the southern sector's air picture collapses. At the pier, the remaining 2 drones skim so low that their shadows flicker atop the water. The watchstander barely registers the faint buzzing sound before the first drone strikes the BK-16 amidships. The explosion rips open the hull, blowing debris into the sea. The last drone dives cleanly through the smoke, slamming into the boat's remaining fuel stores. A fireball engulfs the pier. Flames climb 10 meters into the sky. Silence returns. $1 billion air defense web has been breached by 4 drones costing less than a single Panzer missile.